There are times when INFJs may lose touch with their feelings or seem to lose feeling altogether. This emotional numbing is not a sudden switch, but rather a gradual and often unconscious defense mechanism that reflects their inner struggles and a unique way they process the world. One of the main reasons INFJs may lose feeling is due to emotional overload. Because of their highly empathetic nature, INFJs frequently absorb the emotions of those around them. Over time, this can lead to emotional exhaustion. They may become so attuned to the suffering and needs of others that they neglect their own, causing their emotional reserves to deplete. When an INFJ reaches this point, their psyche might respond by shutting down their access to feeling as a way to protect them from further overwhelm. Another contributing factor is internal conflict. INFJs are guided by their dominant function, introverted intuition, which seeks patterns, meaning, and long-term vision. This is paired with their auxiliary function, extrovert feeling, which focuses on harmony and the emotional well-being of others. When the INFJ's intuitive insights clash with their desire to maintain harmony, they may enter a state of dissonance. For instance, they might see through the dysfunction in a relationship or system, but suppress their true feelings to avoid confrontation or to keep the peace. Repeatedly ignoring their inner truth can lead to emotional suppression, causing them to disconnect from their authentic emotional experiences. INFJs are also very idealistic. They often hold themselves and others to high standards, and when reality fails to meet those ideals, they can become disillusioned. This disappointment, particularly when it comes from close relationships or meaningful causes, can cause them to retreat inward. Instead of confronting the painful emotions directly, they may detach and retreat into their inner world. There, they might rationalize their feelings or intellectualize them, bypassing the emotional processing needed to truly feel and heal. Stress is another significant trigger. Under stress, INFJs can fall into what's known as the grip of their inferior function, extrovert sensing. In this state, they might overindulge in sensory experiences, become overly focused on details, or seek distraction through physical or external means. This state is unfamiliar and uncomfortable for INFJs, who typically rely on internal guidance and emotional intuition. While in this state, they may feel disconnected from themselves and others, as if they're going through the motions without truly engaging emotionally. Also, INFJs are naturally private and protective of their innermost feelings. They often fear being misunderstood, invalidated, or emotionally exposed. If they have experienced emotional betrayal or rejection in the past, they might build emotional walls to prevent future pain. These walls, while protective, can also isolate them from their own feelings, creating a numbness or sense of emptiness. It's also worth noting that INFJs are long-term thinkers. When they perceive a situation or relationship as unsustainable or misaligned with their core values, they may begin to detach emotionally long before they take any external action. This internal detachment can feel like a loss of feeling, but it's often a conscious or subconscious preparation for letting go. During this process, they may appear emotionally distant or cold, which contrasts sharply with their usual warmth and empathy. Over time, if this emotional disconnection is not addressed, INFJs can become deeply introspective to the point of isolation. They may ruminate excessively, trying to analyze their emotional state, only to feel further from clarity. Their intuition may still provide insights, but without the grounding influence of emotion, those insights can feel abstract or hollow. When INFJs lose feeling, it often isn't recognized by others right away, sometimes not even by the INFJ themselves. This is partly because INFJs are so good at maintaining an outward appearance of composure, warmth, and attentiveness, even when something is deeply off inside. They might continue to smile, offer advice, or fulfill responsibilities while quietly experiencing a growing emptiness that they can't fully articulate. This inner disconnection can feel like being emotionally adrift, unable to locate the usual depth and meaning they rely on to navigate life. INFJs are wired to seek meaning in everything: relationships, work, personal growth, the world at large. When that sense of meaning is threatened or lost, it can shake them at their core. Losing feeling for them is not just about emotional numbness. It's a loss of spiritual connection, a disorientation in their identity. They may begin to question who they are, what they want, or whether they've been living in alignment with their values. This existential weight adds to the emotional distance, creating a loop in which the more they try to analyze or fix their inner void, the more disconnected they feel. An INFJ's emotional disconnection often manifests as a slow withdrawal. They might begin to pull away from people they love, not because they don't care, but because they no longer know how to connect in a way that feels authentic. Emotional vulnerability, once a bridge between them and others, now feels like a risk they can't afford. INFJs may ghost conversations, delay replies, or become unusually vague. This is particularly confusing for those close to them, who may feel shut out without understanding why. INFJs usually don't want to burden others with their emotional numbness, so they say nothing, hiding the reality behind masks of competence or aloofness. Another layer to this loss of feeling is emotional fatigue from long-standing patterns of self-neglect. INFJs often put others' emotional needs ahead of their own, sometimes to the point where they lose track of what they themselves need or feel. Over time, this can result in a kind of emotional starvation. They give and give until they're empty, but instead of recognizing the depletion, they keep going until the absence of feeling becomes their new normal. The people around an INFJ may not always see this shift clearly. Because INFJs are naturally insightful and articulate, they may still appear fine or even thriving externally. But internally, they might be operating from a space of numbness, only going through the motions. This hidden suffering is one of the most painful aspects of emotional disconnection for an INFJ. They often long to be truly seen and understood, yet simultaneously fear exposing their raw, unfeeling state to others. It's a paradox of craving connection while feeling incapable of engaging in it. When INFJs lose feeling, it's a call back to themselves. It's the psyche's way of demanding space, honesty, and rest. While it can feel alien and frightening, this disconnection is not a defect. It's a protective pause, a period of recalibration. Given time, compassion, and true emotional honesty, INFJs almost always find their way back. And when they do, their emotional depth tends to return with even greater clarity, sensitivity, and wisdom than before.